show in media, A Neighbor's Choice. And I'm your host, your neighbor, David Gronowski. Welcome back to the program. Glad to be with you. We're soaring higher than ever before as we're unlocking our personhood revolution that we get to be a part of 2,000 years later, after the one who split history came into history and has upended all the old ways of doing things in ways that we are still just barely scratching the surface of. That's why you've come to A Neighbor's Choice. This is the most electrifying show for a reason. We get into the things hidden since the foundation of the world, the things that are underneath the headlines, the things that are underneath our rigged economic system, and we do so by poking and popping that big inflated bubble of groupthink that clouds our judgment, that robs us of our discernment and of our God-given joy. So thanks for being on the program with us today. You can visit our website, aneighborschoice.com. That's aneighborschoice.com, where you'll see exclusive interviews with newsmakers of various perspectives and angles. And joining me now live on air is a TikTok star, a Billboard artist. He's a musical artist. Topher, how you doing, Topher? How's it going?
What's going on, David? How y'all doing?
I'm doing great. It's great to have you on the program. And I saw
awesome, man.
I saw your video because I saw Terry Crews was tweeting out your song just yesterday.
Yeah, that was amazing. I was playing the game when that happened, and I saw someone tag a comment under my video, say, "Hey, man, Terry Crews is using your song," and I was like, "Wait, what?" So I ran over there real fast, and yeah, he actually used the song.
Yeah, and we're going to get to that, play a little bit of the song in a little bit, but I just I saw what you were doing on there with that song, and Terry was throwing it out there to his audience, and you're touching on a lot of the things that we get into on this program, issues like, you know, challenging what's expected, challenging the groupthink that the media wants to keep everybody divided in. Just tell me a little bit about your kind of inspiration behind this song, Crews, which we're going to play. It's kind of in honor of Terry Crews and his recent stances that he's taken.
So I've been a long time Crews fan. I remember watching him on My Wife and Kids. I watched him, White Chicks. I watched him, America's Got Talent. Everybody Hates Chris. And I saw him come out and take a stand recently and speak out against the BLM movement. And when I saw that, I was like, this guy is amazing, because he's not only in Hollywood, but he's surrounded by all the secular and liberal people, yet he stands. And not only when he was questioning this, he still stood on what he said. So this encouraged me to be even more bold in my approach when it comes to the group think and just really seeking truth. So I said, we have to support artists or support celebrities or people that come out and risk their careers in the name of truth. So I said, let me make a song, because I feel like Terry Crews, how I get called certain names and racial slurs, that I feel like I could relate. So I made the song, and in hopes they possibly would hear it, but I never would have imagined that he would have done what he did.
Yeah, and it's I think it's going to go viral continually here, and I think it's a message that we need to continually unpack. You are someone, you're also a Marine veteran, right? Or Air Force vet.
Air
right?
Force vet.
Yes. So you're an Air Force vet. What's your take on our foreign policy about what we're going on with right now, with all the different wars we've got going on?
Well, with President Trump's a plan to remove all troops pretty much from Afghanistan and Iraq and all that stuff eventually. Then on top of that, he ended the war with Iran real fast. To me, because when I served back during Obama's administration, I worked my area of expertise was the Middle East. So I was there when we did a horrible job with Syria and all those areas. And, so seeing him have a stern fist and a stern foot on foreign policy and issues, with our relations. As a matter of fact, he just passed a historic peace treaty with Israel and I'm afraid I forget the country, but the third Middle Eastern country out there that's predominantly Arab. So this man is doing a lot of stuff that I wish Obama would have done. But I say I give it up to President Trump. He's doing a good job right now.
So you would agree that we need to start, getting out of the Middle East and not go into nation building indefinitely, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Another issue I've seen you put videos out is the pro-life issue. What's your stance on this? How is this something that you think? We've seen Kanye West. He went out as a big influencer in culture, and he said he challenged Margaret Sanger. He challenged the notion that we should just give up on trying to fight for the unborn, and he took a lot of heat for it. And he didn't have to. That's an example of another artist who had nothing to gain financially by taking that stance. In fact, having that town rigged as it is towards a culture of death, a culture of cheapening life from every kind of deal you can imagine, the music industry, the fashion industry that his family's involved in, every single level of the money-making apparatus around that man is rigged against the promotion of life. And yet he took that stance. He took a lot of heat for it. Do you think we're making is this a changing of the tide here when it comes to the mainstream challenge to the abortion on demand industry?
Yes, sir. More research is coming out proving, the viability of the baby. That's hard for pro-choicers to argue against. And then on top of that, we have more people that's speaking boldly about the resources available. So a lot of times, what they say is all we are is pro-birth. We don't care about the baby out there's born, right? They go to foster care and things like that. But most people don't understand that most children that go to foster care are there temporarily, and most of them are only there for 14 months on average. And so, and then on top of that, there's 23 families per child that's waiting for adoption. So there's many people and many Americans that want these children. So women would just understand that there's thousands of pro-life agencies across the United States willing to help you once you have the baby. And not only that, but help the baby, but help you prosper as well. There's better decisions, But I always tell people too that it's not just the mother, but the fathers as well. So I always try to encourage the men. It's we got to do what we got to do too. We know we can't really afford to have a baby, or we're not ready for that decision. Because I know I have 2 kids of my own, thank God for that. But I made sure to try to have them in a time of my life where I felt financially stable or good enough to provide for them. Mm-hmm. And so I just tell people that we got to be smarter with our decisions. And hopefully with Trump, and he probably can appoint another conservative judge there in a minute, and we can eventually get Roe versus Wade overturned, because the interpretation of the Ninth Amendment was not meant to be used to support the right to have an abortion. It was mainly targeting federalism, but people have, of course, the Supreme Court have interpreted beyond its means because of the vague language. But hopefully we get back to the point where we can see that a life is a life, no matter at what stage that life begins or where it's at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're on TikTok. You've got hundreds of thousands of views on TikTok, that platform, which tends to be a younger platform. Have you noticed an uptick in, younger folks speaking out against abortion on the TikTok platform?
Absolutely. One of the things I've done is I've helped embolden others that were kind of afraid to speak on their conservative values or beliefs. And now they're out there making videos, tagging me in it to show them, duet them. But the movement is strong over there. If you go to the app and look at the hashtags themselves, I mean, conservatives have way more views than the liberals or the leftists or Democrats, Republicans have more views. But it's because we have found a place where it's not, based on the algorithm, it doesn't censor, our content as much as other platforms.
Interesting. What do you think about this issue with China and all that with TikTok? How do you think that should be dealt with?
Well, I think, we understand President Trump is pretty much doing the art of the deal right now, right? He knows he's trying to put like this, he's trying to satisfy everyone. The voters, and people at the top, the elite, as well as the American citizens. So he thought the best thing to do is a win-win is for them to just sell the company over, right? Mm-hmm. They've already, the first deal they came to, they said that, we'll give over all this amount of stock in company and we just keep this little amount. But then Trump was like, that's not enough. We need for you to go ahead and just sell everything. So hopefully Microsoft goes in and buys everything. It doesn't have to be Microsoft. It could just be any American company. Maybe Facebook will go ahead and try to get in, because I know they tried before. But we just need someone to go ahead and purchase the app, because it's a really great app. Matter of fact, they just started paying creators on the app just like any other platform like YouTube, which is very good for people like me that just making great content and looking to be paid for it.
Yeah, maybe Kanye West can buy it. He's been talking about Jesus Talk, huh? Turn that thing into Jesus Talk. Maybe that'll work, huh? Let's hold this thought. We're going to continue.
Go ahead. He's a billionaire now.
Yeah, he is a billionaire. We'll continue this thought with Topher, a music artist, TikTok star. When we continue, we're going to play a little bit of his song, Crews, which is about Terry Crews and him taking a lot of flack, standing up for what he believes in. And look, regardless of what your opinion is on these different issues, you have to admire a guy who goes against every dollar sign for keeping the peace in Hollywood. And that's exactly what Terry Crews did. So we're going to hear a little bit of that and get more from our friend, artist Topher with us live on A Neighbor's Choice. Don't miss it. More in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Wingate Newton, and I'm running for Pinellas County Commission in District 7. I've been your state representative in Tallahassee, and now I'm committed to continue fighting for you as a member of the Pinellas County Commission. My opponent, as school board chair, has been distracted from the job. The result is failing schools and a prison pipeline for kids. I will fight for our children with apprenticeship programs, training, and jobs. But I can't do it without you. Vote now by mail or at the polls on August 18th for Wingate Newton for County Commission. Paper approved by Wingate Newton, Senior Democrat for Pinellas County Commission District.
Our monetary system is failing. Negative interest rates, growing debt, highly speculative market, and the dollar is being devalued by the Fed. Investing your wealth has never been more challenging. Who wants to earn just 1% interest annually in a savings account, or 0.5% with a 10-year U.S. Treasury bond, or invest in the S&P at its height and in the middle of a pandemic? Thankfully, there is another option, monetary metals. They pay interest on gold in gold with no storage costs ever. That's 2 to 4.5% annual interest on gold and silver, paid out not in dollars, but in ounces, and with zero vault fees. Upgrade to monetary metals today. Visit interestongold.com/David. That's interestongold.com/David.
Not ready to go to your favorite seafood restaurant? Get the highest quality fish for less delivered straight to your door by Fast Fresh Seafood. Order our fresh hog snapper, grouper, mahi, and more. They're boneless, skinless, flash frozen the same day and individually vacuum wrapped. Pick the size filet you want, the amount you want, and checkout's easy at fastfreshseafood.com. The best thing, every fish is on sale. Fastfreshseafood.com. Caught fresh for you, delivered straight to you. Stay home and stay safe.
I'm attorney Young Kim. The financial problems caused by the coronavirus nightmare are not going away anytime soon. If you are behind on your credit card or mortgage payments, or bill collectors are harassing you, there are ways to get them off your back and legally wipe the slate clean. Call Consumer Law Attorneys at 888-99-FRESH for a free consultation. Learn how we can stop the bank and collection companies and help people in debt get a fresh start. Call 888-99-FRESH, 37374. Main office, St. Petersburg.
Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting your doctor. Discontinuing without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death. Attention Zantac users. The FDA requested that manufacturers pull Zantac and products containing ranitidine off the market, noting exposure to unacceptable levels of a cancer-causing agent. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with cancer after regular use of Zantac or ranitidine products, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Call Action Legal Group now for a free consultation. Call 866-321-1729. That's 866-321-1729.
This portion of the upcoming amazing broadcast is brought to you by the law firm of Catania & Catania, award-winning personal injury, auto, and motorcycle accident attorneys, serving Tampa Bay families for over 28 years.
Welcome back to the program. I'm David Gronowski, your host. We're live on A Neighbor's Choice. You can visit our website at neighborschoice.com, where we get all kinds of exclusive interviews with folks in politics, economics, physics, the whole 9 yards. And right now we have with us live on air the artist known as Topher, who recently is going viral because of his new song called Cruise, which is in honor of Terry Crews. Let's go ahead and hear a little bit of that.
My thing was, what I said was defeating white supremacy. White people could create black supremacy. And this is what I'm talking about.
I feel like Terry Crews. I became a target all simply for my views. I'm willing to go and die on this hill. Yeah, Terry Crews. I questioned BLM and that's all it took. Now they call me Uncle Tom, you ever read the book? I'm seeing black supremacy everywhere I look. Exposed the whole agenda, dog, and I left them shook. They coming for my head, I'm speaking out. On the road to equality, ain't no different route. From Don Lemon and others putting words in my mouth. To the gatekeepers I still don't know anything about. That's the hard truth within the black race. Typecasted as a white man in black face. So they label me a traitor, a disgrace. It's why nowadays I feel like Terry Crews. I became a target all simply for my views. Stand on my beliefs, dog, that is what I choose. Never back it down, and even if I lose.
That's very good. I like it. I like it. I think we're going to have to do some collaborations there, Topher. Very good stuff.
Appreciate that, David. Yes, anytime anyone can hit me up. Matter of fact, I just got the opportunity recently to go full-time content creator. So I'm finna start pushing a lot of more music that's going to be conservative leaning, just something to wake up the culture, bring us back to where we need to be.
Well, I'm telling you, I have a little bit of musical background myself in lounge music, so we're going to have to do a crossover collaboration or something. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I'm always down.
Well, Topher, I wanted to ask you real quick, that's been in the news. It's a big topic of this political season, and it's the issue of, justice and dealing with, improper police conduct, dealing with no-knock raids, dealing with qualified immunity, all these different issues. But ultimately, it comes down to a matter of, what's going to define us as a nation. And justice has been a divisive issue. We've had some criminal justice reform with the First Step Act, which has released thousands of folks for onerous sentences. Many of those folks we've had on the program before they got clemency and then after they got clemency. So I think that's a good step in the right direction. But nevertheless, it's an issue that I just want to get your take on as someone who's influencing the culture in a direction that's pro-family values.
Okay, so as far as right now, there's a lot of talk as far as with the BLM movement that, with, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd. And I feel like a lot of times people have a different idea what justice is. I'm one of those people that I'm Constitution first. My military background pretty much has me in the mindset that, I will protect it from both foreign and domestic enemies. So anybody that's infringing upon that, whether you're government or governor, mayor, city council, doesn't matter. I think everyone's rights should be equal, and I think they all should be protected. Now, any cases where I see that doesn't happen, I'm talking up about it. And matter of fact, one of the biggest cases, I'm from Mississippi, and I've seen true criminal injustice, or at least injustice in the justice system. And that was one of the cases, Curtis Flowers, who was pretty much tried 6 times for the same crime, and he was convicted on the 6th time. But then eventually the case was reopened, and Justice Kavanaugh last year saw it and pushed it back down, and pretty much he got off of death row. He was in jail for 22 years, I believe, and he was there innocent man, no evidence, nothing. Even the murder weapon, nothing was gone, and what they said they found was lost. So it does happen, right? So I'm not one of those people that's like it doesn't happen. What I'm against is generalization, because if we don't pinpoint specific people and specific institutions, and we just, generalize everything, then we're going to miss, how you go mop, but you don't sweep first?
Yeah.
You're going to leave a lot of dirt and stuff that you didn't mean to leave behind. So what I'm focused on, I guess it's part of my military background, is very precise information. Let's get to the people that's responsible for this, and let's stop demonizing, all police officers. Let's stop demonizing all white people. Let's stop attributing all this bad stuff to people, because when you malign people like that, then you pretty much pushing away potential allies that can help you with your movement. And I don't like that. That's one of the reasons why, I feel like Terry Crews with that, because he said it himself, if any solution that we're going to have has to have the input and the involvement of the white community. But Black Lives Matter and other organizations like that are just like, no, we don't want their input. We're going to do it ourselves. And I just don't believe that's the best answer.
Yeah, it reminds me of, I'll give you an example, Eric Garner, where, they put that lock on him, and he said, I can't breathe. He died. And I asked people, a lot of people raised millions of dollars off of that man's likeness and that man's statement prior to his death. And I asked people, have we spent any of that money, all those Hollywood celebrities, all those self-righteous folks making money and raising money off of that man's death, Eric Garner, and have they done anything to get rid of that law, which was a law for licensing cigarettes, which sent men with the option of lethal force against that man to begin with? That's the bad laws that we should get rid of, and I think that's an area where we can unite people, not divide.
Yeah, I'm for getting rid of laws that are, pretty much a victimless, right? So if it's a nonviolent crime, why are we so strict about those? Like selling cigarettes, why are we sending people in to arrest people based on something like that? Now, that goes to the whole thing about decriminalizing marijuana and things like that. But I think if it's something natural within the earth, then let it be what it is, There's other ways to have it done. Civil lawsuits. Just do civil lawsuits or something else. But to sit there and just send somebody in that potentially, which we've seen, can end up bad, I just don't think it's worth the loss of life. I believe everyone should see a day in court and have that due process.
Well, very good. I appreciate your time, Topher. It's been a pleasure getting to talk to you, and I will look forward to many more great works of music and other commentary from you in the future. Check them out on TikTok. Check them out on Twitter at Tophertown Music. We'll continue live on A Neighbor's Choice.
There is all kinds of lunacy going on. The madness of 2020.
Weekdays 11 to 2.
I'm just so fed up with these Democrats. It's unbelievable.
Get it straight from Chris Plant.
They're so hypocritical. It makes me sick.
It's the Chris Plant Show.
This has just got me going on.
And the left is waging war against the police in the United States.
Telling it like it is.
You should be thanked profusely for getting to the point. You're a voice of reason in the sea of idiots.
The Chris Plant Show. Weekdays 11 to 2. News Talk 1040. WHBO.
A major reversal for the Postal Service just days before he was to testify before a House committee. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy says he'll suspend several cost-cutting initiatives to, in his words, avoid even the appearance of any impact on election mail. Virginia Democratic Congresswoman Jennifer Wexton.
So I'm glad that they're backing off making these changes. But you'll forgive me for being a little bit skeptical.
A number of states have taken legal action to stop the changes. Leadership matters. That's the theme of this second night of the Democratic National Convention. Dr. Joe Biden and former President Bill Clinton are among the speakers. The University of Notre Dame is moving undergrad classes online for 2 weeks in response to a growing COVID-19 outbreak on campus. Students are being allowed to stay in their dorms. After flirting with a record high, the S&P 500 closed at a new benchmark today, up 8 points at 3390. The Dow fell a bit. The Nasdaq closed higher. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
The old stinky corporate media is trying to tout this new bipartisan report by the Senate committee about this Russia collusion hack, this hoax, this terrible mind virus that has swept the country based on folks who really just want to keep us at the precipice of war because it makes too much money for folks to have friendship with a nuclear power like Russia. They just can't handle it. Can you imagine being the kind of person that wakes up every day thinking about how to keep tensions hot between the nuclear powers and knowing the mortal danger that presents to children and life as we know it on Earth? And imagine that you wake up every day and your job is to create discord, to create division where there is potential unity, where, create hostilities where there is potential alliance between two Western type countries like Russia and America who have a Christian background and some similar values. And yet that's something that must not stand by the old corporate stinky media. They want to always foment discord, especially as a means of covering up the tracks of the people involved in the Russia collusion hoax. That is, the folks like Brennan, the folks like Comey, Clapper. You got all these folks, Andrew McCabe, Biden, Susan Rice, Obama, the whole lot of them seem to be working together to spy not only on Trump, but also on folks like Senator Rand Paul, allegedly. And so they had to come up with an excuse for why they were doing it, which is why the media desperately still, with their bipartisan, remember that it's a one-party machine, okay? And I have to tell you, Trump on a lot of issues stays very loyal to the status quo of that one-party machine. But he deviates just a bit on orthodoxy, and for that, the hacks in the Senate Republicans, the hacks in the Senate Democrats are stand united in the perpetuation of war because it's just too lucrative to get in the way of. I mean, how else can you justify a country that's spending trillions of dollars to continually spend over $1 trillion in foreign policy every year? How can you justify that if we get along with countries? I mean, think about it. If we got along with North Korea, if we could get along with Russia, if we could get along with China, if we could get along with all these different countries, how else could you justify the perpetual $1 trillion a year in foreign policy expenditure? So they have to have a boogeyman, and a few of them, so that you're always scared, that you're always worried about your safety, so that you'll go along with the ruse of bilking the public to the tune of $1 trillion a year just to have foreign boogeymen. And a lot of people make a lot of money. There's a lot of fingers in that pot, a lot of hands in that pot, and they make a killing off of the killings that we continue to unnecessarily do around the world as we police the world like wannabe gods. There's nothing constitutional about it. We just had our guest Topher, who's a music artist and TikTok star, and he was talking about he's an Air Force veteran, and he is all about the Constitution, and that's exactly the Constitution. Does not allow for us to have these undeclared interventions abroad. We're over in Africa. We're doing regime changes in Central America and South America and going off into the Middle East. and going off into Eastern Europe. We're just involved everywhere. A lawless bureaucracy. And people are talking about anarchy here at home. What about the anarchy that we are sowing abroad because of our inability to keep the one-party machine in check? So here they come out with some bipartisan report, desperately trying to revivify and get ahead of the potential fallout of what the John Durham investigation may reveal. You know, I'm keeping myself kind of skeptical about the whole thing, but I'm hoping that perhaps something truthful will come to light because of those efforts and other things, because it's just too ridiculous. As I've said before, you cannot have a rule of law. You cannot have any of the things that the progressives want. They want to have progress. You can't have progress if you have a society in which Obama and Biden and these folks can surveil every single thing about anybody who's an opponent of them. Not just Donald Trump, but Rand Paul, from even folks like Sidney Powell, the attorney representing the General Flynn case. She says that she's heard that she was surveilled. We need to come to the truth to this. We cannot have this kind of fascist one-party machine where the Republicans and Democrats work hand in hand to stomp out anybody who's against their anti-American foreign policy. It's time to say enough. If you're going to put America first, what that means, in my understanding, is you don't go off spending $1 trillion putting special interests first for people in making military industrial complex profits. You don't put them first. You put the American people first, and you don't go off chasing after every skirmish, causing mayhem and chaos and destroying our money. It's going to come home to roost. This is not Chicken Little here. You can see the writing on the wall because of the hubristic response to this coronavirus, in which we thought that we could somehow get ahead of nature itself and say, we're just going to stop for a little bit just to slow the curve. And then now they're saying, no, well, we should just lock everything down until the election. That's so stupid. I mean, these people, they're so fake. Nobody believes their fake pseudoscience quackery, that they're making scientific prognostications based on the election. Well, if we have to keep this lockdown until the election. And then if their guy wins, they're going to say, well, my goodness, look at the collapse we've made. Let's turn everything back on. Everybody go back to school. Everybody start their businesses. Everybody go, 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 go. Because they want to get their numbers up. They want to be able to say, look, our gods are winning. We sacrificed the scapegoat Trump, and we heralded our gods and our little false gods. Look at them. They came in, and just like magic, the economy is roaring back. Look, politicians don't make economies roar. It's you and I. It's people working hard in the economy, working hard to make stuff, to build stuff, to stay out of debt, to invest, not consume. But they want to have an economy that's based on consumerism, based on just consumption, consumption, consumption. They want to have a society in which you can't even save your money. You can't invest it. You try to start a small business, and it costs thousands and thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars to comply with the regulatory hurdles meant to be able to prevent competition. And then what happens, as always? It's our freedom that gets blamed. It's always our liberty that gets scapegoated whenever we get tired of the economic decadence, of propping up losers in an economy with bad ideas, bad services, bad quality, bad customer service. And they get propped up because of the deep capture of regulation. What is deep capture? Deep capture is the idea, and it's the reality of regulation, in which regulations, the way they're written, the way they're bureaucratically administered, the way they're put into law, are captured by the very big business forces that are supposed to be regulated. It's an inevitable fact of DC. So it's one of those things that you can't avoid if you want to go do business in DC. Doesn't matter what your happy little go-lucky idea is. Oh, I'm going to do this, so I'm going to go make DC do a law. The moment you do that, the moment it gets captured by the foxes guarding the hen house. Say, oh yeah, these foxes will take care of these chicken eggs. No, they won't. I mean, that's how stupid the whole process is. Don't go to D.C. to do anything to fix the corruption in our economy, okay? And that goes for all the folks who went to six-figure lucrative corporate communist professors in university and got saddled with a ton of debt, learning useless utopian ideologies promoted by big billionaire elitists. Useless ideologies like critical theory that give them no opportunity to make any money in the real world. Then they get angry because they're saddled by that debt. They were hoodwinked by greedy six-figure corporate communist professors. They take those ideologies, they try to apply them in the real world, and all it does is build resentment and envy and self-righteous zeal. And so they say, okay, we're going to go and we're going to make government bigger. Think about this. Hey, what's your problem with free markets? You ask them. Well, our problem is we hate monopolies. Okay, sounds good. So what you going to do about it? Well, we're going to go to government. What's government? Government is a monopoly on the use of force. So you're going to go to the biggest monopoly in the world and say, save us from monopolies. Government is a monopoly creating machine. That's all they do. They're a monopoly of getting to set the rules for everybody, involve themselves in every aspect of our lives, way beyond the bounds of the Constitution, way beyond that. And by having that kind of lawless situation, monopolies flourish. So think about the insanity of that. We hate monopolies. That's what you hear from folks on the left. So therefore, we're going to go to the largest monopoly, which every monopoly type industry you find, there you'll find a heavily regulated government footprint. Isn't that funny? Every onerous monopolistic industry that you find, you will find the heavy footprint of government involvement through regulation. That, my friend, is what we call regulatory capture. That's what we call the rig game that we have. You do your best, you save your money, and they use regulations. They use rigged trade deals. Oh, it's free trade. It's not free. There's no free trade in it. There's no freedom of trade in that. It's a rigged, managed, corporatist trade in which the deep capture of government by big business is able to stack the rules in the favor of their interest, not the average person's interest. And yet we're told today by some folks who say that they speak for the people that free markets are a threat to the average man. They're not. It's the rigging of the markets by managed fake trade deals, by cronyism, by bailouts, by the Federal Reserve issuing credit to their favored corporations, and the rigged regulations, or what I call rigulations, because they're rigged, that distort and entrench the power of greedy predatorial capitalists. That's the reality, and I wish that millions, and I hope, and I think that millions of people under the age of 30 can rise up and have this understanding deeply in their wisdom. It has to be, because you cannot have this level of ignorance entrench itself with the power of voting. Voting is a very violent enterprise when left to the hands of mobs who are not trained to understand what right and wrong is, and not to understand what discernment is, how to treat neighbors the way you want to be treated, how to understand supply and demand, how to understand how freedom creates profit and wealth for all of the littlest of us in terms of the poorest among us. It lifts everybody up. It lifts the middle class up. It lifts the poor up. It creates amazing opportunities for growth and healing, amazing medical revolutionary things that can be done. But you have to understand how the best way to find that information in an economy is to allow freedom, not rigged regulations. Rigged regulations get you nothing but the same old status quo. We'll continue live on Neighbor's Choice. When we continue in just a moment, we'll learn more about the situation at hand in light of the DNC as it continues. Look at some of the things that we can look forward to. If you want to watch the clips, I have no interest in watching any of this stuff. It's so boring to me. But you know what's not boring? What's exciting is the future. What's exciting is innovation and science and technology and understanding that there's so much for us to do. It's so amazing to see the potential we could really unleash. But it's not going to come from electing people. It's going to come from you electing to do the best you can do with the talents that you have. And I know you can do it. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Wingate Newton, and I'm running for Pinellas County Commission in District 7. I've been your state representative in Tallahassee, and now I'm committed to continue fighting for you as a member of the Pinellas County Commission. My opponent, as school board chair, has been distracted from the job. The result is failing schools and a prison pipeline for kids. I will fight for our children with apprenticeship programs, training, and jobs. But I can't do it without you. Vote now by mail or at the polls on August 18th for Wingate Newton for County Commission. Paper approved by Wingate Newton, Senior Democrat for Pinellas County Commission District.
David Gronowski here. You probably know that it's good to own some gold. Well, I want to tell you about Monetary Metals, a company started by my frequent guest, Keith Weiner. The conventional way to own gold is to buy coins at high cost and hide them at home, or pay annual fees to store them in a vault where they just sit there. Monetary Metals is different. With Monetary Metals, you buy gold just above spot and then put it to work so that you're earning interest, paid out not in dollars, but in more ounces of gold. To top it off, there are 0 vault fees. So stop having your metal just sit there. Upgrade to Monetary Metals today and start earning interest on it. Upgrade at interestongold.com/David. That's interestongold.com/David.
A lawsuit is not something that anyone looks forward to. It's a stressful process. There are attorneys in Tampa Bay that keep clients well informed, creating less stress. That law firm is Catania. Personal injury law is defended with full disclosure. There is no guessing game. If it's an auto accident, medical malpractice, nursing home negligence, unsafe working conditions, or motorcycle accidents, the law firm of Catania will handle the process worry-free from start to finish. Many victims don't realize they have a claim for the loss until they talk to Catania. They only represent private individuals and treat every case as if it's going to trial. Putting families first is more than just a slogan. It's their way of practicing law. It's a commitment to you. Remember, they don't get paid if you don't get paid. So go to Catania.com. Over 28 years in practice. Catania, personal injury, auto, and motorcycle accident attorneys. Catania, putting families first.
Office Tampa.
Not attorney spokeswoman.
Homeowners, do you have trees that are dangerously close to your home that can do a lot of damage?
Oops.
Well, ABC 1-2 Tree offers experienced, fully insured professionals at honest, affordable prices. Their equipment is state-of-the-art. They use the safest practices in the industry. They have 5-star Google reviews. ABC 1-2 Tree only employs certified arborists. Call them at 727-522-8733. That's 727-522-8733. Or go to abc12tree.com.
Come to the forest. It's a place not so far away where you don't have to mow the lawn or babysit. Ask your parents to take you to where the other you lives. But first, stop by discovertheforest.org, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
So Bill Clinton exposed in the Daily Mail today with this photo that's, I guess, been hidden for 20 years or so of him enjoying a neck massage from a Jeffrey Epstein victim as he prepares to do his speech tonight as one of the icons of the Democrat neoliberal project, an icon of feminism. It makes you wonder if Harvey Weinstein had never been ratted out, would he be one of the speakers at the DNC tonight? Would he be lecturing America about decency and coming together and talking about the rights of women? I mean, this is such a sleazy group of folks, and they've been lecturing the whole country for decades now, generations, as they undermine family values and children's programs that they put out where they put suggestive themes as a way of kind of mocking what they have, that I guess rather contempt for families that actually care about beauty and decency and boundaries. And I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, of course. I know it is. And I just hope that this will be the beginning of our country's disavowal and repentance of state idolatry. No matter what party it is, we know that this is a problem. The abuse of innocence is a problem that goes on both sides. Denny Hastert, remember that guy? Many others. You know how much money that the taxpayers have to pay to keep so many of the accusations against members of Congress sealed. It's just the tip of the iceberg. And it just goes to show how absolutely outdated monopoly governance is for solving the problems of an economy, solving the problems of science and medicine. Because if it can be that fragile to blackmail and exploitation and deep moral rot, like we see with Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein and all these other stories coming out, then how in the world can people so stupid and so prone to being compromised ever be given more power? These government agencies need to be abolished. That's the right thing to do. Abolish these departments. Dismantle this massive empire abroad peacefully before it becomes a terrible break that causes us a lot of economic turmoil and cultural chaos. We still have time to get our ship on the right track. If we innovate strong enough, I've talked to folks, on this program, and we've talked about the coming correction of having this massive dollar bubble, of printing money out of thin air, of creating credit in perpetuity, of rigging interest rates to discourage savings and discourage real money and investment. And that's going to have to come to a conclusion. And if you vote, regardless of who you vote for, I don't think that debt's going to be solved politically, is it? So there's a few things you can do. In the meantime, you can stay out of debt yourself, keep your family out of debt. You can learn to take back your educational freedom so that your next generation is empowered to have discernment and critical thinking, so they know how to weigh and challenge and be suspicious of the gaslighting of compromised politicians and stupefied groupthink media parrots that always push us into war. It's just so predictable. It's like you can tell that a certain amount of the population, because they have been so ill-served by government daycare in the form of education, they just lack the discernment ability to know that when the newsman tells you that this person, Donald Trump, is an enemy of the people because he dared want to have a talk with Russia, you just know that there's a certain percentage of the population, given the law of averages and so forth, that are going to not have the ability to discern And it's not that they don't have the ability, it's that they haven't been trained because they've been given a garbage, rigged, corporatist-backed monopoly education system in public school. And so they don't have the training to be able to say, no, that's garbage. I don't care what General Electric, NBC, or whatever these different big companies that act as PR firms for the status quo says, that's garbage. Okay? I can smell a rat. That's very, very suspicious to say anytime any politician comes out in favor of peace and against war, oh, they all conveniently end up being villains. Oh, wow. How neat is that? Not to say that, certain politicians are saints, but isn't it convenient that the ones who your old corporate media wants to villainize the most are the ones who seem to want to have freedom in the affairs of our foreign policy? They want to have less war. They want to have peace. They want to have a sensible foreign policy and various levels of that. And it's always those folks that the media either ignores, as they did with Ron Paul, or if Donald Trump says, bring our troops home, they do everything they can to stand in the way of allowing that to happen. So that's what you can expect on today's DNC as it continues. A sad, declining little group of folks whose game is up. Now, I'm not saying that it's just going to be on autopilot going downhill, their power, but it's clear that their best days of being able to continue to monopolize the conversation is coming to an end. And try as Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and all these folks that want to use their platforms as publishers without the same rules that other publishers have to have in civil tort. These folks are not going to be able to stop the lion of truth. They're not going to be able to stop the ability for truth to overcome all the lies. We're going to see all these things come to the surface. And we can't focus on that. We got to focus on the positive. We have to focus on looking ahead to figure out how we can make the world a better place, how we can serve our neighbors using our talents that we are best at. Those are the things that we have to focus on. These old, stinky, outdated groupthink parrots that act as PR firms for folks like the Clintons and all these bad wars, these bad bailouts, they're all fading away. And now we have a beautiful morning where we can build the civilization that we all want. I'm David Gronowski. Email me hello@aneighborschoice.com. That's hello@aneighborschoice.com. Godspeed.